Hi, today we're going to do our first practice test of epoxy molding. I'm going to make 2 coasters and 4 pendants in the shape of sea creatures. I'm hoping to use glitter on these, a seascape in one coaster, and really neat guinea feathers in the last coaster, just because I really like the black and white polka dots that come naturally on these feathers. So I've already pre-mixed my resin, so you didn't have to watch me mix and mix and mix. This is the kind of resin that I used. I bought it off of Amazon. And my children brought sand from the beach, so it's real beach sand. And I have mixed it with my epoxy, just a little bit in this cup, and I'm hoping that it will come out of the cup and go into this mold with enough left over to make a little beach scene. So let's see how it goes. I'm hoping just to cover the center, make like a little island, so I can put some blue epoxy around the edges, and that you'll be able to see the clear epoxy also. And I'm hoping it will look neat. We'll find out, since this is my first attempt at doing anything with epoxy. This is going to have to set for about an hour to become sticky, so my shells can stick to them and not float up. So we're going to let that set. I don't really care so much about bubbles for that one with the sand, so we're not going to worry about it. For my other coaster, I'm going to put the feathers in, and I've let this epoxy sit for about 5 minutes to try and get most of the bubbles out. And I'm just going to kind of pour this in here and hope it was enough to get to the edges. And if not, then I'll just have to make some more epoxy. So this one, when I poured it, has a couple of bubbles. Oh my gosh, I haven't used this before. So I am going to just clear the bubbles out, because I do want this to be perfectly clear and have no bubbles for anybody to see after I put my feathers in. Okay. And now we're going to add the feathers. I really hope this works, because I love these little feathers. I'm thinking we're going to put them down, just so I can seal them a little bit better. And we'll find out if that was a good idea or not later on. So that was the last of this epoxy that I just made, so I have to make some more to do the little sea pendants. So I'm going to let these set. This has to set for about an hour. I might as well just let this set too. We'll come back to it and pour more resin on the top, and then get some more resin around the edges here and some seashells. So I'll be back after I mix some more resin. Okay, it's been about an hour and we've come back and I've tested it, and it's a little bit sticky, kind of like honey. So we're going to add the shells to this and stick them there. And we've already made our first mistake on our first day of making epoxy. We did not put enough epoxy in this one, and is actually dry in the center. So we're going to add a lot more epoxy to that one to cover it. So for the beach scene, I have this cute little starfish, and I'm just gonna stick it in the middle. We're just gonna put them around the edges and hope that they stick, don't float, and don't cause any air bubbles to come up. I have this extra one, not exactly, not very artistic. I'm gonna have to figure out how to put things in so they look a little bit more natural, because right now it just looks like a wheel. So It's the first one. We'll work on that, making more artistic stuff. And I have colored some epoxy blue because I wanted it to kind of remind me of the ocean, and I'm going to pour this around the edges that I had left open to hopefully get a blue color into the coaster. With this one, I'm just going to add more clear into the center. Hopefully it'll get under the feathers. Hopefully these feathers won't be sticking out the other side. Okay, so we can finally start with this. We've mixed it and we've let it set for 5 minutes to try to get some of the bubbles out. And we're going to make our little pendants. And we're going to put the little plastic beads that we found and just stick them in there, but I'm going to cover it with some more epoxy. Then we're going to use this same one and start with some blue glitter. Put this into the little seahorse. I've heard that this is easier. We shall find out. Now we're going to hopefully drag this around the corners. Get some to the tiny little face, tail. We're going to add some gold glitter to our blue mixture, just so we have a different color. And then for the last one, we're going to add some silver to our blue and gold and put that into our last shell. Now I have some extras I'm going to have to figure out what to do with. And I have some clear that I'm going to put on top of my seashells. See if I have enough to cover all of these seashells now. Well, since my feathers need color and I have extra epoxy, I really wasn't going to put glitter in with the feathers, but can't waste the epoxy. We should be done for today. So, see you in a little bit.